More motivators. Just done 2 of 10 intervals above FTP for 3 minutes. It's gonna be saucy. So on my Zwift setup here, I have a tri-bike, Canyon CF8 disc. Great bike. But as you are thinking about possibly getting into triathlon, you might be wondering, do you need this $7,000 bike or the $15,000 bikes that you see in transition? The answer is no, but they're a heck of a lot of fun. So if you are thinking about getting a tri-bike, I'm gonna give you some guidelines for what to look for and really what to avoid to make sure you don't waste a bunch of money or get a bike that is really suboptimal. Just 8 more 3-minute efforts. Easy. Done.
Spicy.
The first thing to know when you're considering a tri-bike is really, should you actually get a tri-bike? Now, this is a Canyon Speedmax and I love it, and I race on triathlon bikes, and most people who do triathlons race on triathlon bikes. That's what you're going to see in transition. But the question about whether or not you should even get a triathlon bike is the first thing you need to think about. And the answer to that is probably not what you think. If you're just thinking about doing a triathlon and seeing what it's like, don't bother getting a triathlon bike unless money is absolutely no concern. The reason for that is that a tri-bike is a very, very specific bike. You can't really use it very well in group rides. It's not very comfortable to be on. It's really only used, even in my case, in the last 3 months in preparation before a race. Most of the year, I'm on a road bike or a gravel bike. So to make a tri-bike your only bike, if you are just getting into the sport, might just be a waste of money because you might not use it as much, and then if you end up going to sell it, it's gonna be much harder to sell than any of those other bikes. But the time that you should get a tri-bike is when you've already done a race, or money is no option, or you've done some races and you know you're going to be committed to tri for a very long time. Then, and only then, should you consider getting a tri-bike. The next thing to consider if you're thinking about getting a tri-bike is price point. Most people buying their first tri-bike are looking at the $3,000 and under tri-bike. At this price point, you're not really getting a whole lot of bike. You're not getting very good components, you're not getting a very good frame, you're not getting a very good wheel set, you're not getting a very good bike. You're also getting a bike that is of a quality that a huge amount of beginner triathletes buy and then resell. The market is going to be flooded with bikes of that budget, and it's going to be hard to actually get any of your money back. I made this mistake getting a $2,000 road bike thinking, hey, I got a really good road bike, and then I ended up selling it for about $400 just 18 months later because it was so entry level. So at that $3,000 under price point, I actually recommend that you get a used tri-bike. And the reason for that is you're going to be able to get a tri-bike that is in that like $5,000 to $6,000 kind of new range, and somebody else has paid the depreciation, and then there's not going to be a whole lot of depreciation left. You might be able to sell that 18 to 24 months later for almost as much as you bought it for. So in that entry level $3,000 and under price point, hey, I love you, Canyon, but I'd probably say try to get a better quality used bike. What does better quality mean? Well, it really starts and ends with group sets when it comes to bike. That's the main front chainring, the crank arms, the shifters, the brakes. All of this is the group set. The parts that make the bike go is the group set, or the Grupo. Entry-level tri and road bikes are typically going to have a Shimano 105 group set. This isn't what you want. This is bottom of the barrel. They're perfectly fine, and I've actually qualified for a World Championships racing on a Shimano 105, but the issue with it is that when you want to upgrade from that bike, and I guarantee you there's only 2 ways that it goes with your first bike. It's either you buy an upgraded model or you sell it and stop riding. So in either case, you're getting rid of the bike, and it's going to be much easier to sell that bike if you have a higher end group set. That means Shimano Ultegra, Shimano Dura Ace, SRAM Force, SRAM Red. All of these group sets are going to hold their value a lot more, and when people are looking at buying your bike, they're going to be looking for that type of quality. Final little bonus tip about the group set: if you're looking at a used road bike and the chain ring on the front and the cassette on the back and the chain are just dead black, that means that the person hasn't maintained their bike whatsoever. You want a bike that is still fairly gray, that looks like steel, not black gunk. Let's talk about how much you're going to spend. If it is in that $3,000 or under price point, you're going to have a situation where the front end of your bike and the saddle might need a fair bit of work to be customized. I guarantee you that if you spend another $300 to $500 to get a really nice set of elbow pads, aero bar extensions, risers underneath the elbow pads, a nice saddle, and you dial in that position so that it's really, really comfortable, and as you adapt to it, it's as enjoyable to ride in that aero position as it is on a road bike, you're going to perform way better than if you spent another $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and didn't have a position that you were comfortable in. So almost no matter what, I would recommend that you get that front end position dialed in, but if you are in that $3,000 or under price point, a lot of those bikes don't come with a customizable front end. So don't blow all your money on just the bike and set aside just a little bit extra to make sure that you can get a really nice customizable front end and seat. That's gonna make you way faster. I would even put more money into that than I would upgrading from, say, Shimano Ultegra to Shimano Dura Ace. The more you know. And finally, let's say you do have a little bit more budget. You're in the $5,000 to $7,000 range and wondering if that's going to be enough bike to be happy for a long period of time. The answer is yes. Once you get to the point that you have a nice group set, that you have a triathlon frame, that you have a seat that you're comfortable in, a front end that you're comfortable in, you eventually upgrade to deep section wheels and you have an aero helmet, that's about it. That's most of the benefit you're going to get from a tri-bike. And you can get all of that for that $7,000 and under kind of range. Then why do the $15,000 bikes exist? Well, there are some small luxuries. The integrations are a little bit cleaner. The storage of your flat repair kit, of your nutrition is a little bit cleaner. The shifting is maybe just marginally better. It's maybe just a couple of watts, if that, faster. But it's a really luxurious purchase to think that you're not just gonna spend $7,000, you're gonna spend $15,000 for that upgraded bike where the performance improvements are really marginal and only make sense if money is absolutely no object and all of those upgrades would just make you happy. Or if you're a very, very competitive athlete and saving that extra 45 to 60 seconds over the course of a half Ironman is going to make a difference from you. Otherwise, at $7,000, which is what this bike is, you have most of the bike you will ever need for triathlon. So motivators, I hope this helped you choose your first triathlon bike. I am sponsored by Canyon and I love Canyon. Personally, I think that it is the best value per dollar. They make a fantastic bike and on average, I find it costing about $1,000 to $1,500 less. So definitely check out Canyon. But really any brand of triathlon bike is going to have those same principles that I outlined here. So happy shopping, good luck. I hope you have a fantastic new bike day. And if you found this video helpful, hit the like button below. And if you aren't yet subscribed and you are going on endurance adventures, hit the subscribe button below. We put out new videos every single week. Later, motivators.